Charlie Munger is famous not only for making oodles of money, but for his philosophies of life. Munger is well aware that as humans we have massive amounts of cognitive biases that really get in the way of us thinking rationally. So Charlie Munger uses a tool called inversion thinking, which is all about looking at a problem or an issue upside down, backwards, turning it around as a way to come to a more rational understanding. So instead of thinking about how to succeed, you think about how to fail. The idea being that if you understand what is required in order to fail at something, you will know exactly what to avoid in order to succeed. My name is Karen. I'm a clinical psychologist, and in this video, in the spirit of inversion thinking, I'm going to offer you 13 suggestions for how to stay stuck and miserable. Number 1, embrace pessimism and negativity, because doing so always makes sure that change seems too hard and impossible to achieve. Number 2, complain about everything. Why look on the bright side when there's always a dark side that you can notice and which you can moan about? Complaining really helps to keep that spirit of negativity on the go. Number 3, never take responsibility or accountability for something that goes wrong or for a problem that you have. Taking some kind of accountability might mean that you'd have to take responsibility for changing it. Number 4, always blame other people, especially your parents. You know, in therapy, we do spend a fair amount of time understanding the impact of our parents' parenting on us for the purpose of processing it and moving forward. But blaming your parents without understanding and unpacking that blame is a surefire way to stay stuck and miserable in the long term. Number 5, make sure to criticize and judge others. The more judgmental you are, the more pessimistic and negative and complaining you'll be able to be. And the more your own view, your own lens through which you see the world will be colored by your criticism and your judgment. You'll notice the ugly in the world. And the thing is, of course, there's always plenty of ugly to notice if you focus your gaze on the negative and the dark side of life. If you're finding this video useful, then please click the like button so that more people will get to see it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. My 6th suggestion for how to stay stuck and miserable is to always judge yourself harshly and make sure to feed your inner critic. Always put yourself down, because when you do so, there is no point in trying, is there? Number 7, always stay in toxic situations and make sure to surround yourself with toxic people, because they will reinforce your negative view of the world and your negative view of yourself. And doing so will make you very, very miserable. In that vein is my 8th suggestion, which is always take your anger out on the people closest to you and the people who love you. Taking out your anger on others damages your relationships with people and ensures that you will stay stuck and miserable in the long term. Suggestion number 9, never take risks. Never try anything new, because of course trying new things involves risk. And make sure you never travel, Because should you travel and expose yourself to different environments and new situations, you might grow as a person. You might find yourself happy. And if you want to stay stuck and miserable, that is something you should definitely avoid. It's really interesting that research shows that changing our environment has a major impact on our well-being. And whether the environment is positive or negative, obviously changes the nature of the impact. So if you surround yourself with positivity in a positive environment that reinforces good things and the good things about you and your life, obviously that is going to prevent you from staying stuck and miserable. Suggestion number 10, always do the bare minimum. Never put yourself out. Do not go the extra mile. Doing this might make people really grateful to you. They might make people like you, and that would perhaps alter your perception of yourself and of others for the positive. And on that line, don't take on responsibility, and for goodness sake, avoid leadership positions. Taking on some kind of leadership responsibility will definitely stretch you, and that might make changes that you wouldn't want if you wanted to be stuck. Suggestion number 11 is do not take care of yourself. Do not practice self-care in any way, because basic self-care is the foundation for positive well-being. So often I find that when my clients are going through a really difficult time, they actually completely forget about self-care, or they begin to neglect self-care. And this really adds to their feelings of unhappiness. So if you want to stay stuck and miserable, then do not practice the basics of self-care, like eating good food, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, getting some sunshine every day, and of course doing some kind of exercise or movement on a daily basis. Suggestion number 12 is play lots and lots, preferably endless video games in every moment of your spare time, or alternatively doom scroll through social media for hours every day. After all, there's plenty of research out there that supports the view that too much video gaming and media scrolling tends to have a very bad impact on your mental health and your well-being in general. So, if you want to stay stuck and miserable, do not keep your social media scrolling and your video game playing in a healthy balance. Allow them to take over. Lastly, suggestion number 13, and probably the most important suggestion in this list from my perspective, is never engage in therapy. Do not do therapy, because in therapy you might begin to build all kinds of self-awareness. You might realize all kinds of patterns that are playing out in your life that are preventing you from being unstuck and learning how to find fulfillment and contentment and happiness. Therapy is something that you should definitely avoid if you want to stay stuck and miserable. Of course, I'm saying all of this tongue in cheek. Of course, I'm not seriously suggesting that you should stay stuck and miserable, and I don't want you to stay stuck and miserable. But thinking about life from Charlie Munger's inversion thinking approach can be quite helpful in thinking about the ways that you might be stuck in one or more of these patterns, and ways that you might look at changing them. If you realize that one or more of these patterns or barriers is unfolding in your life, or is present in your life and preventing you from becoming unstuck in some way, then you can start by practicing mindfulness, reading books. There are all kinds of ways to find healing and to engage in change. The first step is always insight. And of course, if it seems impossible to make a change in something that you find holding you back, then reach out to a counselor or a psychologist or another kind of mental health professional and engage in building the self-awareness and the tools and the coping strategies for how to make changes, because you deserve to live life to the full, to love, to live, to work to the best that you can be. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.